A little subheading here. When we talk about slant height, we are talking usually about pyramids or cones. And in order for you to figure out what slant height is, you probably need to know what slant height is. Let's draw a cone. This is pretty solid. Okay. When you're given a cone, there are 3 different measurements that you can find or need to find. 2 of them you're pretty familiar with. What is this measurement right here? You call that the what of the circle? That's the diameter of the bottom circle. Maybe I'll find a cone here. Where that means this here. You've got a cone. We've got the bottom diameter of the bottom circle. And then we have what's called the height of a cone. And what do you know about heights? In math, when you talk about heights, it has to be perpendicular to the base. So the height of this cone is either given 2 ways. It's either they'll draw a dashed line through the middle here and give you a little right angle here and tell you that's the height, or they'll extend a line over here and extend a line here and draw this straight up and down and call that the height. Base, height, right angles. Not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about the slant height. And the slant height is this. It's the line that's on a slant. And it is definitely different than the regular height. Okay? But the key to remember when you talk about slant heights is the Pythagorean theorem. Because if I were to take this cone, slice it right down the middle, okay, get what we call a cross section of it, you end up with a right triangle. Well, actually you end up with a big triangle there, but if you cut that triangle in half, and you kind of have to imagine this little chunk right here, this is a right triangle, and the way that you'd figure out the slant height is you would use that a squared plus b squared equals c squared thing. For example, if this was 3 inches here, and the height was 4 inches, you can probably tell me that the slant height, that's one of those nice triples, would be 5 inches. That would be the slant height. Okay, and you're going to need it. And it's the same thing with a pyramid. If you're drawing a 3-dimensional pyramid, you get the same thing there. You cut it in the middle, which is kind of hard to do if you don't have different colors, and you go across here, you get that same right triangle that you're going to need to be able to figure out what the slant height is. Here's an example right out of the book. So here is, take this for example, I'll do the big scale. Here is my cone. And it tells me that the cone has a diameter of 10 centimeters. And it extends this thing out here. It says it has a height of 12 centimeters. And the question is, a lot of times, what is the slant height? Slant height, a lot of times we use a little s for it, but they want to know what is the slant height. And of course, you're going to sketch this out here. And when you sketch it out, it's pretty simple. You're just going to think about cutting this in half. Think about where the middle of that whole circle would be, the center of the circle. Draw your line straight down to that middle part of the circle. Connect it over here. It's going to be a right angle. You're going to be able to jot down those dimensions. What dimension is this? It's the same as this 12 over here. What's this dimension from here to here? If the whole thing is 10, half of it is 5, and then you hope the book is nice because the slant height is the hypotenuse of that right triangle. Is there a 5, 12 one? Oh, look, how nice they are. The slant height would be 13 centimeters. It's really no more difficult. Maybe you want to impress the teacher and shade in some stuff to make it look cool. You should have your own little board at your desk there to figure that out. Let me try one that's not quite as exciting. No, it's probably more exciting. Let's do one that doesn't work. Well, maybe it does work out. Let's try. Here's one right from the book. It gives you not that. It gives you a pyramid. And it tells you that this is a square pyramid who has 8 centimeters by 8 centimeters, and the height of this bad boy, not the slant height, but the normal height, straight up. The normal height is 8 centimeters. What would the slant height be? And again, think about it like this. Think about the middle of your little base. Go from the vertex there, shoot straight across here. Here's your slant height. There's your right triangle that you're going to use. Tell me, somebody, tell me what my slant height is based on those measurements and dimensions. Anybody? Again, Pythagorean theorem. Don't do it even without trying thing. By the way, this one does not work out evenly, so you will get probably some sort of square root thing. You'll probably get some sort of square root thing. So we've got answers. I like it when people have answers. It's still calculating. I'm pretty sure you can tell me the dimensions of the triangle there. If you get the dimensions of the triangle, I don't know how you can go wrong. 2 lefts don't make a right. Or do they? 3 lefts make a right. Look, I'm still thinking about that. Actually, no, 2 lefts make a right. Brianna Massey says, now, yes and no. The square root of 80 is correct, but we've simplified that, have we not? How do you simplify the square root of 80? If you remember, you have to prime factorize it, break it down into whatever its prime numbers. Square root of 2 times the square root of 40, square root of 2 times the square root of 20, square root of 2 times the square root of 10, square root of 2 times the square root of 5. When you break that down, you actually end up with a normal 2, and this square root of 5 doesn't cross off. So really, square root of 80 is kind of it. It's 4 times the square root of 5. Now, how did she get that, you ask?
How did she get that?
Well, I'm sure the first thing she did is said, oh, I'm going to write down the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Then she probably wrote down the dimensions for her triangle that she sketched in the middle, which is what's the height of this triangle? 8. What's this distance from here to here? Well, it's always half of what the base is, 4. So you plug those numbers in there. 4 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. 4 squared is 16, 8 squared is 64. 64 and 16 is 80. And if c squared equals 80, what does c equal? C equals the square root of 80. By the way, if I gave you 4 times the square root of $5, about how much money have I given you? No, I have not given you $80. If I gave you this or this, it'd be the same amount of money. 4 times the square root of 5 is about how much money? Well, the square root of 5 is close to what? Whole number. What times what gives you close to 5? 2. So 2 times 4 would be about $8. A little more than $8 if I gave you 4 times. That was question 1. Keith, what did I do wrong?
What would you use the slant height for? It's like you find out what would you use it for?
Well, if you were going to wrap your pencil as a birthday present for your mother, okay, you would obviously be able to calculate this part right here, how much paper you need, but you'd also need to be able to have that slant height to figure out, because the formula to find the surface area of a cone deals with the slant height.
It would be usually 10 to 10 to go. I don't know.